Okay, here's a doozy. Visual Vengeance is to say they're knocking it out of the park with these DTV, originally straight to video, direct to video film releases on Blu-ray. To say they're knocking it out of the park, they've got a cannon and they're like firing these things out of the park. From director Bret McCormick comes the 1986 horror. I don't know if I'd call it a comedy, horror, goopy, gory, gross film, aptly titled The Abomination. I'd seen the video cover of this over the years and I never watched it because I was never into the direct to video things, and that's why I'm loving these visual vengeance. I love. I'm not going to say I love to be proven wrong, but I love it when like beefs I have or presumptions are just eradicated over time, and I open my heart and let the DTV flow in. These releases from Visual Vengeance have been amazing. I always would shy away from the straight to video stuff because I always thought it was cheap and lame and not as good, less than, and all that. These backyard movies, these films shot on 16 or Super 8 or whatever, and I've enjoyed like all of these. They're really impressive, and even more impressive is the story behind how they were made and the fact that these got into video stores. When the era where video stores were just so hungry for product, you could make a movie with the idea that this is just going to go to a video store. I'm going to get enough money to make something that's good or better or adequate and put it on a tape and get it out there, and they become these legendary things years later that we show at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater in Lehigh, Pennsylvania during VHS Fest, this kind of stuff. So The Abomination, what is this thing, you fool, you fool? It is a 90-minute film presented in English stereo with English subtitles, optional, that was shot on, I believe shot on Super 8. If I'm mistaken, I apologize, 16 or Super 8. And it's about this guy, bear with me, it's about a guy lives with his mother. She is very religious. She's into watching a faith healer. One night she puts her hand on the TV and the faith healer's casting things out of her, and she coughs up a tumor. This movie's gross. She coughs up a tumor and throws it in the garbage where it keeps pulsating. And in the night, the son comes home. His mother is asleep or whatever. Son comes home, and the thing basically slimes its way across the floor into his bed and into his mouth. Told you this movie's gross. He eventually, I don't remember if he coughs it back up or not, he becomes basically possessed by the abomination, which somehow takes root in his kitchen. So there's this giant rubbery monster with big pointy teeth in his washing machine, top loader, I believe, and in his cabinets. He opens the cabinets and he has to start killing people and feeding the body parts to the abomination because it controls him. So that's the basic story here. It's very low rent, which is not necessarily an insult. It's very low end, very low budget, very kooky. I mean, it is very funny at times. I guess it is part of comedy. And very gory and goopy and wonderfully done. It's very impressive what these people were able to do with clearly very little means. And they got it into video stores. And it's on Blu-ray now. And people are talking about it. And it's technically, I would say this is good. Is it a well-made film? Well enough made for what it was trying to do. It's not the kind of film, again, I would have ever wanted to watch unless it was handed to me, and I thought it was really fun. And then you go into the extras, they're even more fun. So let me see what I have in my notes here. It's partly shot MOS, partly shot silent, so a lot of the dialogue is later dubbed, which gives it that other weird, nightmarish, dreamlike, otherworldly feeling that's kind of cool and really works for it. Just as a viewer, you just need to be able to accept the fact that this is low budget. It doesn't look like a major motion picture from 1986, but if you like horror movies, this is a fun one. So and the score is cool. The score sounds like it's from a 50s sci-fi film. And there's an unintentionally funny. I don't think it's intentionally funny. There's voiceover acting at the end under the credits that is so like monotone and not terribly well acted that it becomes kind of funny. The extras, okay, sit back. The thing about most of these movies and these Visual Vengeance releases are like 80 minutes. They're never very long. The extras are like the rest of your week. And if you're into this kind of stuff, even if you're not even into the movie that much, I've found that the extras are really interesting because it's these guys looking back at how they made a film and got it released, and the ingenuity, a little bit of money and a dream, and how these things got released out there and are now remembered by a lot of people. You got a commentary with director Bret McCormick, Rob Hochschild, and Matt Desdiero of Visual Vengeance. That's really cool. You got a commentary by Tony Strauss of Wang's Chop magazine. That's very cool, and again, not really repeating a lot of the information. You get Monster Kid Movie Maverick interview with Bret McCormick. That's 73 minutes long and very interesting. It talks about a lot of the other stuff he worked on and what he did before this. You get an actress Blue Thompson interview that's 6 minutes, actress Victoria Cheney interview that's 5 minutes, interview with the original VHS distributor, Michael Jack Scholl, who did Donna Michelle Productions. That's 15 minutes long. And that's cool too, to hear about the guys who first put this stuff out, what they were looking to do with these tiny video companies, how much success they had. That whole thing, the business aspect of it, I find very interesting, especially in that Bret McCormick interview. You get the Abomination original locations tour. That's 13 minutes. It was in Poolville, Texas, locations that were also used for a film called Ozone that we did play at one of our VHS fests before. You get an outtakes and raw footage reel. There's 2 of these reels, outtakes and raw footage. One is 28 minutes, one is 18 minutes. So you can essentially, assemble your own alternate version of this film. You get behind the scenes on the stairway sequence, and that's shot on Super 8, 8 minutes. 1 minute, sorry, it's only about a minute long, shot on Super 8. It's basically a little bit of extra footage. Behind the scenes tumor test footage that's 1 minute long from Super 8. You get a 3-minute image gallery that's, it's interesting seeing such sharp and colorful images that were shot on the set with a still camera as compared to what the film looks like, which is kind of fuzzy, kind of grainy. The trans from this, I kind of got the feeling that they may not have gone back to the original materials on this film. This may have been a video transfer that was done long ago for this. For all we know, it was originally edited and mastered on some level of video, and there was never any film elements to go back to that were finished. They didn't really get into that in this, that I recall. You get an interview with the Abomination, which is a text article that's essentially interviewing the creature from the film about its career and things like that. You get a Bret McCormick original Super 8 films. It's 6 minutes long. It's home movie type footage, so it's a lot of it's sort of narrative and a lot of it isn't. One of them is some of it's home movie footage. There's one that's like an underground comics, COMIX style cartoon and animated short, but sort of like stop motion, like cutting and pasting things. You get the Visual Vengeance trailer for this film. That's a minute, so a new trailer created for it. And then you get Bret McCormick trailers, which are all newly created Visual Vengeance trailers for upcoming releases, either things they have released or things I presume from them being Visual Vengeance trailers they're going to release. You get Ozone Replicator, which I still need to review, or depending on when you're watching this, which I've already reviewed elsewhere on my YouTube channel. Highway to Hell, Reanimator Academy, Children of Dracula, Biotech Warrior, and Time Tracers, all of which he references in his long-form interview, so it's cool to see what these films look like, because I don't believe they show clips from those in that review. And then we come to the packaging. Now, if you know Visual Vengeance, if you've seen any of these reviews I've done for Visual Vengeance, if not, look up my other reviews for Visual Vengeance, because I always will get into this. You get new artwork on the cover there, front and back. That's if you can see that, that's roughly what the Abomination looks like. A slipcase which slips off to review alternate artwork. Visual Vengeance always does this. So there's alternate artwork, which is really well done for the front. The title font has always been the same from the original video releases. And then the back, and then you crack it open, of course with the child safety latch there. You open it up and you get artwork on the disc. You get a sheet of video store stickers that say things like SOV, not for the kiddies, video nasty, too gory, sick. And that's a sheet of stickers you can slap on things if you want. You get a little, what is this? Is this a booklet? You get a little booklet about the Abomination with trifold booklet, I guess. But small font, small text. So a lot of writing and photos about the film. You get a comic book adaptation of the Abomination, which is pretty lengthy, black and white, several pages long. That's not all. You get a poster of the new interior artwork mini poster for the Abomination. And then you get a reversible cover that replicates the original video store artwork. And they talk about this in one of the extras, how at the time, video store art for home video art for horror movies often would try to put the goriest thing on the cover. I remember that. A lot of times you would find video covers with something, it's just gore, some photo of just guts on the cover, and that would be in the movie for like a fraction of a second. Or sometimes not even in the movie at all, but they felt like that was really selling it to the crowd that this was going for. So available now on Blu-ray from Visual Vengeance. Another excellent release from Visual Vengeance is Bret McCormick's The Abomination.